The first thing I did after becoming the cowherd was to skin that old ox and peel away its tendons. Tomorrow night at the Bixia pool to the west, 7 celestial maidens will descend to bathe. I am instructed to seize the opportunity to steal a set of garments and hide deep within the forest. Whoever comes searching for their attire will become my wife. However, the ox did not know that I possessed the Myriad Spirit Compendium, an artifact capable of seeing through the true essence of all things under heaven. The compendium records clearly and precisely that once a golden ox attains sentience, it finds joy in deceiving others and committing all manner of evil deeds. Its vital weak point is concealed directly between its hooves. By piercing it with a sharp blade, one can flay the ox's hide while it is still alive. With 1,000 years of cultivation dissipated in an instant, after burning away the fur from the flayed hide and draping it over my body, I am able to ride the winds and travel at will. Therefore, while it was caught off guard, I ended its life with a single strike and conveniently absorbed it into the Myriad Spirit Compendium. Having gained 100 years of cultivation out of thin air, I flipped through the compendium to check my own information. To my surprise, I possess the Yang Spirit Constitution, though I have yet to learn how to activate it. From the mouths of 2 nearby villagers, I learned that this place is called Luochu Mountain. High on the mountain lies Bixia Pool, which legend claims is where the 7 celestial maidens bathe. Upon hearing this, a realization struck me. Luochu Mountain contains a secret cave, and within that cave dwells 7 man-eating spider demons, female spirits, who usurped the bathing grounds of the 7 maidens, spending their days frolicking and bathing there. Could it be that I have transmigrated into the world of the journey to the west? Those 2 villagers, named Zhao Dazhuang and Sun Xunyang, had both been deceived by the old yellow ox and lured up the mountain, forced to lure young men for the spider demons. On every 1st and 15th of the lunar month, the ox demon would lure a youth up the mountain as an offering to the immortal maidens. If the sacrificial offerings were to cease, the maidens would fly into a rage, the surrounding populace would suffer, and tomorrow is the 15th of the 7th lunar month, the day of the offering. Now that the old yellow ox is dead, there are no offerings. When the 7 maidens are struck with fury, none of us will survive. Zhao Dazhuang stomped his feet in distress, and I frowned as I asked him, "Then why do you not flee?" "You do not understand, young brother," Dazhuang sighed. "The 2 of us once took advantage of the ox demon's absence to attempt an escape, but upon reaching the mountainside, we discovered the path was completely sealed off by countless silver threads. Any bird or beast in the mountain, or even venomous snakes and scorpions, would foam at the mouth and die instantly upon touching those silver threads." My conviction grew stronger. These so-called immortal maidens are none other than the 7 spider demons. Those 7 demonesses are not to be trifled with. Even the 4 pilgrims of the Buddhist scriptures were once ensnared by them. Although I have just attained a century of cultivation, a head-on confrontation with them would surely lead to my demise. With this in mind, I gathered firewood in the courtyard, threw the beast hide into the flames, and once the fur had burned away completely, I draped the hide over myself. Since the path is sealed off by spider silk, I shall take to the sky. My speed while riding the wind was immense. In less time than it takes to drink a cup of tea, I reached the mountainside. Just as Zhao Dazhuang had described, the entirety of Lalai Mountain was covered in a thicket of silver silk, completely blocking the way. After landing, I approached to inspect the webs, which towered over 20 to 30 zang high. As I studied them, the 10,000 spirit tome suddenly activated on its own. Tai-yin poison spider, possessing a millennium of cultivation. A heaven-born spirit breed, possessing a pure yin physique. It accumulates yang energy. Upon reaching a millennium, it transforms into human form with a seductive and enchanting appearance. Its demonic eyes can expel silver silk, laced with potent venom. Any beast that touches it meets an immediate death. It has 3 vital points. The first is the vertebrae at the base of the neck. Striking this weakens and incapacitates it. The second is its vulnerability to spirit fire, which can destroy its yin pearl. The third is its natural predator, the spirit bow spider. Capturing a Tai-yin poison spider alive and absorbing its pure yin energy can activate a pure yang physique. I took a deep breath. 7 spider spirits, each with a millennium of cultivation. The very thought of it sent shivers down my spine. I possess neither spirit fire, nor am I a spirit bow spider. The only viable path is to strike the vital point at the vertebrae of its neck. The tome states that capturing the Tai-yin poison spider alive and extracting its yin energy can awaken a pure yang physique. My yang spirit body must be that very pure yang physique. Returning to my room, I began to calculate my strategy with precision. Zhao Dazhuang and Sun Xunyang are just enough to serve as bait to create an opening for me. After all, they have already helped the spider demons harm many people. Although it may not have been their true intent, they are far from innocent. At twilight on the 2nd day, I led Zhao Dazhuang straight toward the west mountain. Today is the full moon, the day of the tribute. Since the 7 spider spirits will not receive their offering, they will undoubtedly be enraged. It is better to strike first than to sit and wait for death. He who strikes first gains the advantage, I muttered, while Dazhuang followed along with a look of misery on his face. Divine being, can you truly contend with the 7 immortal maidens? If a battle breaks out, you must protect me. I dare not hide the truth from you. I have an elderly mother above and small children below. My household cannot afford to lose me. You have not returned home for half a year. I spoke indifferently. Your wife has likely remarried long ago. Your son, I fear, is already calling another man father. As for your mother, she surely has others to tend to her needs. Zhao Dazhuang froze for a moment, then began to weep even more violently. A short while later, I placed Zhao Dazhuang in a clearing within the forest and used the ox horn to draw a circle around his feet. Do not step outside this circle, or you shall face the consequences of your own life or death. Zhao Dazhuang was so terrified his face turned ashen. He stood motionless within the circle, not daring to twitch. I approached the Bihei pool alone to lie in wait, watching in silence. According to the original records, the Bihei pool is a celestial spring formed by one of the 9 suns shot down by Hao Yi in the ancient era. It is the burial ground, where a golden crow transformed into essence. If one could bathe within it but once, the benefits would be immeasurable. Before long, night descended upon the mountains, and the sound of clear, melodic laughter echoed from afar. 7 graceful, ethereal figures appeared on the bank of the pool. Through the ethereal mist of the water, garments were cast carelessly upon the grass one after another. With swift eyes and hands, I snatched a purple robe and retreated into the woods. According to the words of the golden ox before its death, by hiding in the forest with the purple garment, a celestial maiden would surely come to seek it. It is evident from this that the 7 spider spirits take turns enjoying these offerings. Dealing with one is always easier than facing all 7 at once. Returning to the forest, I shoved the purple robe into the hands of Zhao Dazhuang. I concealed myself within the shadows. Tonight, I intended to use this golden opportunity to subdue a spirit by absorbing its yin energy to activate the yang spirit body. 29.473. I would no longer need to hunt and record them into the Myriad Spirit Manual. Receiving such an influx of Taoist virtue would cause my cultivation to skyrocket, providing the capital to contend with the remaining 6 spirits, or even to retreat safely. After their clothes were stolen, the 7 young women frolicking in the Bihei pool shared a knowing look and smiled seductively. They understood that the offering had arrived. Among them, a girl with purple hair appeared exceptionally thrilled. Her delicate face was flushed, her eyes constantly darting toward the forest with an impatient, irrepressible desire. The eldest of the spider spirits stepped forward to instruct. Zion, do not play around. After draining the yang energy, you must return quickly to meditate and stabilize your cultivation. Not long after, I indeed saw a graceful figure glide into the forest. Young master. The woman's voice was soft and seductive, as if gently scratching at the heart. A single sentence left Zhao Dazhuang's mind in turmoil, yet the moment he saw her face clearly, he immediately forgot all about the stories of man-eating demonesses. This was no demonic fiend. She was clearly a celestial fairy, a realization that left even the demoness herself stunned. She had been full of anticipation, believing tonight's offering to be a vibrant young man, brimming with vitality, enough for her to feast upon and savor. Who would have expected a middle-aged peasant farmer to be standing before her? His primal yang essence had long since vanished, and his rugged, weathered face was an eyesore. At that very moment, I lunged forward, pressing one hand firmly against the nape of her neck. Zion was struck with terror, and just as she intended to struggle and resist, a sharp, agonizing pain erupted 3 inches below her neck. Her entire body went limp, as if every tendon and bone had been drained of strength. With my left hand constricting her throat, I held a fragment of ox horn against her windpipe with my right. Do not move, or I will draw your blood. Zion's face was filled with astonishment. She had already seen through the sisters' plans. You knew? And you even slaughtered the old ox and skinned it? I did not bother to answer, merely signaling with my eyes for Zhao Dazhuang to leave quickly. Zion let out a cold, threatening laugh. I will not hide it from you. I have 6 sisters above me, and in 2 hours' time, if I do not return, they will certainly come looking for me. By then, even if you had wings, escape would be impossible. Perhaps you should kneel before me now and call me mother a few times, and I might consider taking you in as my foster son. Before she could finish her words, a surge of potent primal yang energy erupted from within my body. Zion was immediately dumbfounded. The mutual generation of yin and yang is the law of heaven and earth. The supreme yin poison pearl is a heaven-sent spiritual seed, and its cultivation relies entirely on the yin energy within the body. However, this yin energy must be constantly nourished by yang energy. Only then can one's cultivation reach greater depths. This is primal yang energy. If I can extract and absorb this energy, my yang spirit physique will surely awaken. How can I gather this yin energy? I searched the annals of the spirit archive in my mind, which displayed: stroke along the demoness's spine, upward to the throat, and then downward to the life gate. Under the infusion of my yang energy, Zion's beautiful face could not help but flush crimson. To think that you possess a pure yang physique, she gasped, panting. If that is the case, this maiden no longer wishes to kill you. My pure yang physique is the perfect complement to your yin poisonous spider essence. If we become cultivation partners, it will be mutually beneficial. Do not be ungrateful, for I am quite taken with you. Following this, Xinyan and I sat cross-legged facing one another, palms pressed together as the yin and yang energies within our bodies began to surge and intertwine. Pure origin energy was generated instantly, but before 2.5 incense sticks had burned, Xinyan cried out in shock. You wretched boy! Are you trying to humiliate me? You arrogant member of the human race! We have not yet held our wedding ceremony. How could you do this? Having cultivated for 1,000 years, she had heard plenty from her sisters among the demon kin regarding the plight of those who sought to become partners with human men, where they face nothing but insurmountable obstacles. The humans consider themselves noble and refuse to associate with demons. Yet she had not expected her own experience to be the exact opposite. This human was being far too forward. 2.5 incense sticks later, I successfully awakened the yang spirit body. In an instant, my physical strength increased tenfold. Ziyan, caught between shame and fury, seized the opportunity to break free from my control, her demonic eyes flashing, as she immediately spat out a myriad of silver threads, binding me tightly. But a moment later, scorching flames erupted, incinerating every strand of toxic silk into ash. Audacious demon, I now possess the profound yang spirit fire. Do you still dare to act recklessly? Xingyan's eyes reddened in an instant. My sisters were right. All you humans are heartless and unfaithful. It is as I feared. You clearly plundered my primordial yin to awaken your spirit body, and now you turn to harm me, branding me a monster, when we were merely taking what we each required. Did you not also receive my yang energy? I looked at the young woman before me, and a nameless, indescribable feeling stirred within my heart. This is the territory of you and your sister. I have no intention of staying long. I bid you farewell, and hope we meet again. With that, I donned my cloak and soared into the sky, riding the wind as I departed. Zigyan watched the figure recede into the distance, her gaze slowly dimming. Humans have human hearts. Demons have demonic natures. Xinyan had awakened her spiritual intelligence at a young age, but having lived deep in the mountains, her heart remained purer than that of the average demon. This was the first time she had ever experienced such an encounter. I was the first man she had ever been intimate with, so she naturally viewed me as a partner to rely upon. Furthermore, as I possessed the yang spirit body, my body contains an inexhaustible, immense purity of yang energy that left Ziyan completely captivated. If his sisters were to discover he possesses the pure yang physique, they would surely stop at nothing to capture him and drain his essence night and day. She muttered to herself, recalling the words I spoke upon my departure. He promised we would meet again. He will surely return, will he not? At the same time, I descended into the small courtyard at the foot of the mountain. To kill her, I truly found it difficult to bring myself to do so. Furthermore, my meager 100 years of cultivation would likely fail if I were to risk my life against her, and victory would be far from certain. Should I alarm the remaining 6 spider demons, I would be walking straight into my own grave. Zhao Dazhuang and Sun Xunyang were waiting in the courtyard, so I told them to head straight east, promising that I would clear the spiderwebs for them. Without looking back, I sped off toward the east. The spiritual radiance of the flying talisman had dimmed. It could not carry me far, and I needed to rest to recover its spiritual energy. Before long, I arrived at a local earth god shrine at the foot of Mount Luozhu. The heavens suddenly opened, unleashing a torrential downpour, leaving me no choice but to duck into the shrine to shelter from the rain alongside the statue of the earth god. Having nothing to do, I felt restless. I opened the Myriad Spirit Scroll to examine it, and discovered a breakdown of the cultivation realms. The stages of cultivation are: refining essence into chi, refining chi into spirit, refining spirit into void, refining void into dayo, crossing the tribulation to become an immortal, profound immortal, true immortal, and golden immortal. I immediately attempted to circulate the spiritual energy within my body, concentrating it into my palm, and indeed, a flicker of profound yang spirit fire manifested. And since my awakening, it seems my yang spirit physique requires no specific manuals or immortal techniques. I can increase my cultivation level directly. I casually flipped the scroll to the page regarding the tie-in poisonous spider. I suddenly noticed that the page had gained some color, as if I had already collected a portion of it. At this rate, with a few more encounters, I could gather the complete record. According to the legends of Journey to the West, all the insects scattered across Mount Luozhu, the venomous bugs, the locusts, and their kin. Once they attained sentience, all regarded the 7 spider demons as their foster mother. While these tiny creatures possess little individual strength, they are formidable as spies. I have no choice but to lie low for now. It would not be too late to ascend the mountain in a few days. Just then, the Myriad Spirit Scroll within my mind suddenly pulsed with divine light. The Earth God, a man of great virtue during his mortal life, was granted enlightenment by the immortal, transformed into a yin spirit, acting as the eyes and ears of the heavenly court. I was tasked with overseeing a 10-mile radius, bearing the grave responsibility of maintaining order in the region, to eliminate demons and eradicate evil. Yet my lifeblood was bound to a single point, controlled entirely by the Feng Shen Bang. Witnessing this, I was struck dumb with shock. So the earth deity could actually be harvested. But how was I to go about it? Could it be that I was meant to slay a god? After a moment of contemplation, I picked up a dry branch and snapped it into 3 pieces, treating them as 3 sticks of incense, which I respectfully planted before the earth deity's statue and ignited. To my surprise, I was actually able to harvest it. Not only did I gain a century of cultivation merit, but I was also gifted a low-grade 5 elements technique. The earth travel technique, bestowed by the Myriad Spirit Codex, was directly imprinted into my mind. The moment it entered my body, it reached the minor completion stage. Just as I utilized the earth travel technique to submerge into the ground, preparing to depart the earth deity's temple, I heard an elderly, fake cough resonate from behind me. I have never seen such a way to offer incense. You've scorched the statue of this old man entirely. HMPH. Since you are a heaven-born spirit, perhaps you possess a destiny with the immortals in the future. Since he wishes to forge this karmic connection, I suppose I must endure it. Thus, in the following days, I relied on the earth travel technique to scour the 4 corners of Mount Luoshan, hunting the demons of the forest. I successfully harvested the iron-spiked wolf demon, gaining 200 years of cultivation merit. I successfully harvested the azure scale python monster, gaining 150 years of cultivation merit. I successfully harvested the white-browed tiger spirit, gaining 150 years of cultivation merit. I successfully harvested the blood-eared rabbit demon, gaining 300 years of cultivation merit. I successfully harvested the red willow wood spirit, gaining 500 years of cultivation merit. In merely half a month, I had accumulated 500 years of cultivation merit, and my cultivation base had advanced to the mid-stage of refining qi into spirit. The earth travel technique had long since reached perfection, though it must be clarified that cultivation merit is akin to the accumulation and insight into the Dao. It cannot be directly converted into raw cultivation base. Half a month later, I arrived at the mountain deity temple on Mount Luozhu, produced 3 sticks of incense, and respectfully ignited them before the statue. May the mountain deity brother grant his blessing. I successfully harvested the mountain deity of Mount Luozhu, receiving 1,000 years of cultivation merit, and grasping a divine ability of spirit grade, the mountain refining art. I was completely stunned. The rewards were truly this bountiful. Suddenly, a woman's voice, filled with indignation, rang out from outside the temple. Who is hiding within the temple? Qi Lang, are you hiding in there? Ziyan held up a fractured stone in her hand. You left this mark intentionally. Were you not hoping to meet me? That is the stone cracked by my Xuanyang spirit fire. Her sisters may not have noticed, but Ziyan was intimately familiar with the aura lingering upon it. She had failed to find any trace of me these past few times. After giving it some thought, she realized the only place beyond the surveillance of her adopted sisters was the mountain god temple. Seeing that there was no response from within the temple, Ziyan's expression betrayed her disappointment, but at that very moment she felt a powerful gust of wind strike from behind. Just as she prepared to evade, the scent of a familiar aura reached her senses. She ceased her resistance, a faint smile tugging at her lips as she stood perfectly still. I took the opportunity to pull her into an embrace. Little vixen, have you finally surrendered? Thus, after 2.5 hours, my yang spirit body reached the great completion stage, and my cultivation breakthrough advanced to the early phase of refining qi into spirit. I truly did not expect Ziyan to be of such immense assistance to me. My name is Ziyan. We are a wedded couple. That fragrance was truly unforgettable, leaving me yearning for her day and night. So it was indeed Ziyan. The two of us grew intimate, sharing sweet words, finally resolving the grievances that had stood between us. Qi Lang, from this day forth, stay at the mountain god temple. It will make it easier for us to meet. Do not blame me for not allowing you to stay at my home. I do this only for your sake, Ziyan said with a grave expression, explaining that with 6 sisters in the house, if they discovered my pure yang constitution, they would surely harbor malicious intentions. Under normal circumstances, it might be manageable. Thinking of their sisterly bond, perhaps her eldest sister would even host a wedding for us. But currently, Luozhu Mountain is being watched by a demonic cultivator. Her eldest sister is frantically striving to elevate her cultivation and Taoist merit. If you were to reveal yourself, she would surely seize you for her own. As we indulged in our intimate encounter, a thought struck me. and I instantly recalled the Taoist from Huanghua Temple. Looking at Zion's demeanor, I feared they had not yet become entangled with that old Taoist. In the original story, the 7 spider spirits of the Silk Cave would later defect to the master of Huanghua Temple, ultimately perishing under the golden cudgel. Like many demons who occupy their own mountain strongholds, their cultivation was only at the stage of refining void into Dao, lacking sect or lineage, living their days in constant anxiety and fear. I questioned Zion further regarding the background of that demonic Taoist, only to discover that this person was a human heretical cultivator who called himself Yu Mingzi, and although his cultivation was a tier lower than the spider spirits of the Silk Cave, he possessed several formidable Dharma artifacts and had mastered a spirit fire that caused them to suffer great losses. If they were to be defeated again, they would have no choice but to surrender Luozhu Mountain. They would be forced to seek the protection of the 100 Prisons true monarch at Huanghua Temple, with the cost being 80% of the spiritual fortune and resources of Luozhou Mountain. Upon hearing this, I sensed a brewing conspiracy. Yet I remained entwined with Xian for another 2.5 hours. We pledged a time to meet again, and I immediately resolved to descend the mountain. As night fell over the Bihan pool, fourth sister Biyan teased, "Little sister Ziyan, the man you absorbed last time." His vital energy was remarkably pure. In merely half a month, the spiritual aura within you has thickened several times over. At this rate, won't your cultivation level soon catch up to eldest sister? The man from before still possessed his primordial yang. He was truly of immense benefit to me. Xin Yan struggled to keep her voice sounding calm. I was also worried that the Taoist cultivator might return to harass us, so I practiced diligently, hoping to relieve some of the burden from you sisters. Second sister Qing Yan frowned. "It is already the first day of the 8th lunar month. Why hasn't the tribute been delivered tonight?" Hearing this, Xin Yan felt a surge of panic. To help me conceal my tracks, she had specifically traveled to the mountain peak to provide a cover. Up to this point, the sisters were still unaware that the old toad had perished. Eldest sister Qi Yan suddenly sensed something amiss. She intended to send some fireflies to the peak to investigate, but unexpectedly, the fireflies returned with different news. The yin wind at the foot of the mountain was surging. That Taoist cultivator had come to provoke them once more. Qi Yan's expression shifted instantly as she hurriedly ordered her younger sisters to dress properly, arm themselves, and together they rushed into the forest to engage the Taoist in battle. Xingyan's heart was in turmoil. Qi Lang just left? He wouldn't happen to run into that Taoist, would he? That villain practices a demonic art even more ruthless than any monster. In a clearing within the forest, Yu Mingzi stood fearless, gazing at the 7 female demons before him. "You 7 beasts, if you are willing to submit as slaves, acknowledge me as your master, invite me into your cave to reign as king, and serve me well, perhaps I might yet grant you a path to survive. If you continue to stubbornly court death by resisting me, today I, this old Taoist, shall scatter your souls. You shall be cast into the 9 springs for eternity." Taoist, you are courting death. Let us see if the blades of my sisters are sharp enough. Just as they confronted one another, I remained hidden in the nearby brush, silently observing. The myriad spirit scroll within my mind. Practitioners of the demonic arts delight in slaughter, gathering vengeful spirits and lingering grudges, burdening themselves with endless sin. Their heinous crimes are unforgivable. Both gods and men hold them in contempt. They are doomed by heaven and earth, with their fatal weakness lying in their own physical forms, for they have lived long among ghosts. Enduring the relentless erosion of yin energy, their flesh becomes frail and necrotic, rightfully earning them the title of the living dead. To slay such a being is an act recognized and rewarded by the heavenly Tao. With merit to be gained, I naturally intended to eliminate this demonic cultivator. But I did not rush. I remained crouched in the shadows, observing the battle to gather intelligence on my foe. This clash of mystical arts lasted for several hours, leaving 5 of the 7 spider demonesses wounded. Only the eldest sister, Qi Yan, and the 7th sister, Zi Yan, managed to escape unscathed. Zi Yan and I had practiced dual cultivation on 2 occasions, with yin and yang harmonized within her. She no longer feared the spirit fire of Yu Mingzi. She drew her blade and charged, piercing the chest of the demon practitioner with a single strike. Seeing this, I emerged from the darkness and immediately channeled the mountain refining technique. The spider demons were struck with astonishment, wondering what manner of divine ability this could be. One must understand that those capable of wielding such divine abilities are limited to 3 types of people: direct disciples of the great Luo immortals, generals granted the path of immortality by the heavenly court, or those favored by the demon kings of the terrestrial realms. Yu Mingzi, in the depths of despair, cried out, "Can your excellency withdraw this divine ability?" The only response he received was a single punch, which instantly reduced young Mingzi to a pile of mangled flesh. By successfully eliminating the demonic cultivator Yu Mingzi, I gained 300 years of cultivation progress. For punishing the wicked and purging their sins, I received a strand of heavenly Dao merit. I gathered up the storage bag and the myriad soul banner that had belonged to Yu Mingzi. At that moment, the eldest spider demon approached me and bowed, saying, I am known as Qi Yan. I offer my deepest gratitude to the Taoist for your assistance. Our sisters will never forget this debt of gratitude, she declared, as the remaining spider demons knelt in succession. Upon seeing them pay their respects, I observed the 7 women. Qi Yan, as the eldest, possessed the deepest cultivation and, among her sisters, the most mature and voluptuous figure. To put it mildly, she was so well endowed that when looking down, one could barely see one's own toes, and lying flat would be a sight to behold. The remaining sisters were also beauties of the highest order, each possessing her own unique charm. Yet, within the gazes of these 7 demonesses, there lurked a hint of peculiar intent. While Qi Yan remained composed, masking her inner thoughts, the eyes of the others flickered repeatedly between Ziyan and myself. They also sensed the exceptionally pure yang energy within me, from which they deduced the unconventional relationship between Ziyan and me. As I departed, I cast one final glance at Ziyan, signaling a future reunion. Farewell. With those words, I soared into the sky and vanished. Bayan leaned against Ziyan's shoulder and whispered, Little sister, since when did you rely on such a treasure of a man? You have hidden this from us for far too long. Indeed, little sister. Who exactly is this man? The yang energy upon him is so dense and pure. If one could absorb even a breath of it, would it not be an experience of utter ecstasy? Tell us the truth. Your cultivation base has been surging recently. Is it because of him? Tell your sisters, what does it feel like to find such a man? Ziyan was instantly overcome with shame and embarrassment. All right, will you leave me be if I tell you everything? I returned to the Earth Temple. Once inside, I opened the spatial pouch belonging to Yu Mingzi. Within it lay mountains of gold, silver, and precious jewels, as well as an ancient, yellowed manual, which was none other than the Zheng Dao Tian Fa Men, a cultivation manual compiled by the Taoist Xuan Yang. The Zheng Dao Tian is a method for refining the golden core by guiding medicinal properties into the body to balance yin and yang, though one must distinguish between the master and the guest. External objects are merely transient guests. One's own origin is the true medicine king. Having already accumulated nearly 3,000 years of Taoist cultivation, I grasped the profound essence of this immortal technique in no time. Immediately, I activated my yang spirit body, using my own physique as the furnace, refining the spiritual energy within me, and circulating it through the heavens, opening my purple mansion, and condensing my magical power, until finally, a golden core coalesced within my purple mansion. At that moment, a hypocritical voice echoed from outside the Earth Temple. Congratulations to this young friend on forming your golden core. You are truly a heaven-born spirit body with peerless talent. The ones who had arrived were the Earth God and the Mountain God of Mount Luchu. I treated these 2 underworld deities with courtesy, bowing and asking, To what do I owe the honor of your visit, noble immortals? The Mountain God replied, Yu Mingzi, who was recently punished at Mount Luchu, was a high-priority fugitive on our wanted list. However, the Tita, 10,000 soul banner, possessed by that evil cultivator, still holds over 10,000 trapped souls. They must be handed over to Taoist Xuan Yang so they may be liberated and transcended. I told them, the 10,000 soul banner has long since been discarded by me. The mountain god couldn't help but look at me twice more before grasping the implication of my words. He then drew a long sword. This object was left behind by Xuan Yang Zhenren. It is called the Crimson Sun Sword, intended as a reward for the one who exterminates the evil cultivator. This treasure belongs to you now. The earth deity stood nearby, chuckling as he offered an explanation. This Crimson Sun Sword cannot be compared to the 10,000 soul banner, but it is an acquired spiritual treasure, personally refined by Xuan Yang Zhenren himself. While it may only be considered a low-grade item, it is nonetheless exceptionally precious. I accepted the longsword and bowed to both of them. Rest assured, esteemed immortals, I will certainly recover the soul banner. Once you have found the 10,000 soul banner, simply seek out the mountain god of Luo Chu, they instructed. Having said this, the mountain god vanished into the wind, but the earth deity was in no rush to leave. Instead, he approached me with a smile to strike up a conversation. Fellow Taoist, the moment I saw you, I knew you possessed a destined affinity for the immortal path. I seized the opportunity to inquire about current events. I mentioned that I had heard of a great incident that once shook the very heavens, involving a monkey who committed a grave crime against the heavenly court, wreaking havoc in the celestial palace, until even the Buddha of Mount Ling was stirred to action. The earth deity was taken aback at first, but then chuckled, saying, Fellow Taoists, what you speak of is ancient history. The demon monkey of Huaguo Mountain, in the eastern Victory continent, who wreaked havoc in the celestial palace that happened over 200 years ago. A sense of relief finally settled in my heart. By that estimation, there were still roughly 300 years remaining before the westward journey pilgrimage was set to begin. After conversing with him for a while longer, the earth deity transformed into a wisp of green smoke and vanished into the earth right before my eyes. Feeling it improper to linger in the temple, I made my way to Mount Luochu and took temporary residence in a small courtyard on the mountain peak. That night, I returned the 10,000 soul banner to the mountain god of Luochu. Under the guise of exchanging magical techniques and supernatural powers, I skillfully probed for the consequences of stealing knowledge of heavenly court magic. After all, the earth deity was well aware that I had slain the netherworld child. For one to steal immortal arts, the consequences would naturally be dire. In these lands, while monsters and spirits are plentiful, few possess truly formidable strength. Firstly, they lack the means to study under a master. Secondly, even if one is fortunate enough to steal a supreme technique, they are swiftly hunted down by the heavenly soldiers and generals. The mountain god's gaze fell upon me once more. You have cultivated the mountain technique quite proficiently, he noted. You possess a certain degree of Taoist attainment. Your master must surely be one of the true men of the Taoist sect. This supernatural art is widely circulated, but mastering it is far from simple. I have meditated upon it for 100 years, and have only. I clasped my hands together and bowed to him once more. The path of cultivation is arduous. Should I find myself with spare time, I shall seek your guidance at the mountain again. The mountain god nodded with a pleasant expression. Before we parted ways, he gave me a special warning. I have observed that you have grown quite close to the demonesses of the Pansi cave. This is not a grave sin in itself, but you must ensure you never partake in their wicked deeds against others, lest you ruin your own future prospects. I am grateful for the reminder. I have taken up residence on the eastern side of Mount Luochu. Naturally, this could not escape the watchful eyes of the 7 demonesses of Pansi Cave. Thus, the very next night, a graceful silhouette stealthily pushed open my door and stepped inside. The visitor was none other than Ziyan, who did not allow me a moment of sleep throughout the entire night. Now that I possessed immortal techniques, I could consider myself formally initiated into the life of cultivation. By day, I delved into the Taoist arts, relying upon my 800 years of cultivation base to master the final pages of the Zheng Dao Tian, successfully cultivating various minor techniques. By night, I found further indulgence. Xingyan, despite her slender frame, was incredibly insatiable, never missing a single night. After 4 or 5 consecutive days, she had been so thoroughly exhausted that her complexion appeared somewhat sallow. On another late night, while I was reading by the lamp, a sudden gust of demonic wind blew out the candle, followed by a familiar, lingering fragrance. The door was pushed open, and in the darkness, a delicate figure shyly stepped inside. After another sleepless night, as dawn approached, I gazed at the woman before me. Ziyan, do you know why I wanted you to come here? From the very beginning of the previous night, I had realized this was not Ziyan, but rather her 6th sister, Lan Yan. Seeing that my voice held no trace of anger, she breathed a sigh of relief and collapsed directly onto me. Naturally, it was little sister Ziyan who asked me to come. She has absorbed too much yang energy over these past few days. Last night, her body turned as red as if she were burning with fever, so she begged me to come and serve you, benefactor. Another night passed, and the one who arrived was neither Xingyan nor Lanyan, but Qingyan. Qingyan possessed a timid nature, much like a porcelain doll placed there for one to admire. Over the next few days, among the 7 demonesses of Pansi Cave, everyone except for the eldest sister, Qian, came in turns to engage in the discussion of the Tao with me, exchanging insights on the path of cultivation. I felt a flicker of annoyance. What did these spirits take me for? Ultimately, through my nocturnal toils, my cultivation realm reached the perfection of refining qi into spirit. On this night, the moment Ziyan saw me, she burst into tears of grievance. Barely a few hours later, she panted as she asked me, "That Lang, do you love me more, or do you prefer my sisters?" I felt a sense of helplessness. Your sisters have already posed this very question to me. Then, if my eldest sister also wished to serve you, would you accept? Immediately, an image of that woman with her intoxicating, curvaceous figure appeared in my mind. One who always stirred an indescribable tremor within the heart. Ziyan noticed my expression and mistook my thoughts for displeasure. Do not be deceived by her beauty. The eldest sister's thoughts are profound, and she is not easily swayed. I shook my head, feigning indifference, while inwardly leafing through the yin-yang poison compendium in the 10,000 Spirits illustration guide. Only the final fragment remained to be collected. If I could sit and discuss the Tao with Qingyan, I would surely be able to complete the collection. My eldest sister knows you are staying on the eastern mountain. To show her gratitude for your destruction of the demon path last time, she invites you to Binha Pool tomorrow. Binha Pool is an immortal spring nurtured by heaven and earth. Legend has it that in ancient times, it was the bathing place of the 7 celestial maidens. Its spiritual energy is incredibly dense, and a first-time immersion possesses the power to cleanse the marrow and refine the bones. At dawn, Ziyan deliberately concealed her departure and left ahead of me. I waited until the sun had risen, before setting out for Binha Pool. The female demons bowed upon seeing me. Having truly encountered me before, they were no longer overly formal. Qiyan presented me with a brocade box, saying, "This is a garment woven from the primordial spider silk of my sisters and me. After long periods of soaking and tempering in Biha Pool, it becomes impervious to blades and spears, resistant to water and fire, and capable of warding off various toxins. Consider it a small token of our appreciation. I hope, Taoist, that you will graciously accept it." By midday, the pool shimmered with a brilliant, dazzling radiance, and the yang energy reached its absolute zenith. It was then that Qi Yan spoke. "Taoist, this Biha Pool was originally the bathing place of the celestial maidens, but for reasons unknown, it was abandoned, allowing us sisters to benefit from it. If you do not find our circumstances laughable." Correction. The text numbering skipped 60 in the prompt, but following the flow. "Ever since I acquired this spring, I have been unable to sleep at night, filled with anxiety and unrest. For a treasure of this magnitude is not something we can keep for ourselves." Having said this, she produced a shimmering, radiant feather. Ziyan and her sisters cried out in astonishment. "This is the celestial light divine feather, that Lang." This was the greatest secret hidden upon Luozhu Mountain. For the eldest sister to reveal even this to you shows she already considers you one of us. Taoist Qi Yan is truly generous. I took the celestial light divine feather into my hand, feeling the profound spiritual resonance hidden deep within it. Qin Yan looked on with a trace of shyness. "This item is produced from the Biha Pool, and there are very few of them each year. Only we sisters were aware of it. Since you have now become our neighbor, fellow Taoist, you naturally have the right to know." I immediately understood her meaning. As neighbors, we should rightfully assist one another. Qin Yan smiled brightly. "Fellow Taoists, if you enter the water to cultivate, the effects of refining the immortal light divine feather will be significantly enhanced." After speaking, she led the others away. Once they had moved to a distance, Qin Yan spoke softly. "Sister, was it not too reckless to tell our benefactor about the immortal light divine feather?" Qi Yan appeared somewhat helpless. "Each of you has already pressed your body against his, becoming entangled in his karma, unable to sever the ties. What else could I possibly do?" The women blushed with embarrassment, and Xinyan carefully suggested, "Sister, since that is the case, why don't you also join with Qi Lang?" "That is right, sister. Qi Lang possesses a yang spirit physique, which is naturally compatible with our Taiyin spider race." As the others spoke up one after another to persuade her, they resembled a group of misguided maidens, attempting to drag their dear sister into the same trap. Qi Yan's expression darkened, and she remained silent, causing everyone else to immediately fall quiet, not daring to speak further. Meanwhile, I reached the center of the lake, feeling a surge of heat rising in waves from beneath my feet. As it washed over the soles of my feet, I probed with my divine sense, only then discovering that the immortal spring was located exactly at the center of the pool. The spring's eye resembled an unfathomable abyss, ceaselessly pouring forth intense yang energy. I immediately dove toward the spring's eye. It was bottomless, and my divine sense could not penetrate it, so I had no choice but to sit cross-legged beside the spring's eye and begin refining the immortal light divine feather. During the first 3 days, the 7 demons of the Pansi cave waited from afar. 2 days later, all of them except for Qiyan had entered the water to bathe one by one, and the yang energy within my body had become overflowing. The yang energy leaking out provided the demons with immense benefits. Thus, the 6 spider spirits spent their days and nights immersed in the lake, unwilling to leave even for a moment. Another 2 days passed, and Qiyan was somewhat shaken. "Fellow Taoist Shilang is actually able to remain at the bottom of the lake for this long? I have no choice but to cultivate, do I not?" She finally entered the lake fully clothed. In the blink of an eye, 81 days had passed. By this time, the faces of the 7 sisters betrayed an unconcealable anxiety, all because a mysterious dragon had discovered the Biha Pool. Even the mountain deity of Lichou Mountain was no match for him. Severely wounded by his opponent, Xuanlong laid eyes upon the 7 demonesses of the Pansi cave. Stunned, a lecherous glint gradually surfaced in the depths of his pupils. These demons are truly blessed with extraordinary beauty. It just so happens that I am bored of cultivating in this spring. Become my handmaidens and bathe with me. The demonesses turned pale. The dragon nature is inherently lustful. If they fell into his clutches, they would essentially become playthings. The mountain deity at his side silently took a step back, clearly intending to stay out of this troublesome affair. Qinyan clearly recognized the identity of this Xuanlong. Although the dragon clan is of little consequence in the eyes of the celestial deities, they possess more than enough power to bully the minor yin spirits and backgroundless demons of the lower realms. Moreover, this Prince Xuanlong claims to be the foremost immortal beneath the heavenly tribulation, and maintains intricate connections with the Dragon King of Biba Lake. They simply cannot afford to offend him. Chang'an lowered her voice and spoke to Xian. Go and awaken fellow Taoist Qi. I shall attempt to stall Xuanlong for a few bouts. We must escape this place. This Biha Lake is no longer worth holding on to. But at that very moment, Xuanlong sensed that someone else was hidden within Biha Lake. He immediately raised his dragon claw, intending to snatch them out. As Xian dove into the pool, Xuanlong flew into a rage, bringing his dragon claw down upon Qingyan in a single strike. Qingyan crossed her blade to parry, but the sword in her hand shattered instantly. She coughed up a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. I will kill you first to establish my authority, so that those wretched girls will not dare to defy me. Having spoken, Xuanlong exhaled a torrent of divine fire, which transformed into a vortex and surged straight toward Qiyuan. She exerted all her strength to spray silver silk in an attempt to block the flames, yet it was all in vain. At this critical moment, hanging by a single thread, Biha Lake exploded with a deafening roar. Amidst the flames, a figure surged forth from the water, carrying an immense, scorching heat, and in the blink of an eye, stood firmly before Qian. You are not the only one who knows such techniques. The moment I finished speaking, I opened my mouth to exhale a torrent of flames, engaging the Xuanlong divine fire in a direct, head-on collision. Before the eyes of all present, my golden blaze instantly incinerated the Xuanlong divine fire into nothing but ash. Like a miniature sun manifesting overhead, the eruption immediately swallowed Xuanlong's massive form. Qingyan witnessed this scene in utter shock. You have attained the divine fire. I reached out to pull her back, supporting her frail and swaying form. In that instant, Qian's beautiful face flushed with a faint, rosy hue. Your yang spirit physique has finally undergone a transformation. Waiting for the celestial light and feathers she gifted me, I stole a glance at my personal information on the 10,000 spirit grimoire. The 81 days of secret cultivation within the Biha Pond allowed my cultivation base to directly surpass an entire major realm. I am now only a single step away from the legendary Earth Immortal realm. More importantly, while inside the Biha Pond, I absorbed every lingering thread of the drifting Golden Crow bloodline. The Yang spirit physique has evolved into the Golden Crow divine physique, and the Xuan Yang spirit fire has consequently advanced into a divine flame. It is now known as the Purple Yang divine fire. The women gathered around me one after another. Yi Lang, if you are not certain of success, we can choose to retreat, Qingyan added from the side, offering her counsel. Xian is right. Xuan Kelong is known as the supreme immortal beneath the heavenly tribulation. A century ago, he had already reached the perfection of the Earth Immortal realm, possessing the bloodline of the Dragon Clan. He is not to be underestimated. I raised my head to look at the sky. The clouds had completely dissipated. Xuan Shalong clearly sustained little injury, and the 10,000 spirit grimoire opened before me. Demonic Xuanlong, born with the Dragon Clan bloodline. The Dragon Clan has two ancestors who were both innate gods and demons. One of them is called the Torch Dragon. Wanlong is a descendant of the Torch Dragon, though his bloodline has diminished to less than 1/10 of its original potency. A wicked divine beast body, possessing an incredibly resilient physical form, skilled in breathing fire. This divine beast has no vital weak point. The Dragon Clan is a treasure trove. Their flesh and blood can augment one's vital energy, their scales can be forged into armor, and their tendons, dragon bones, and dragon pearls are all supreme celestial materials. Xuan Klong let out a thunderous roar, transforming into a man as he looked down from above. I am not mere trash. This crown prince is the #1 immortal beneath the heavenly tribulation. I couldn't help but find it amusing. Only by harmonizing the void with the Tao, and undergoing the tribulation to ascend, can one truly be considered to have attained the Tao, and become an immortal. You are but an earth immortal, who has made no progress in 100 years, yet you dare to call yourself an immortal? You are courting death! Xuan Qilong erupted in a fit of rage. He immediately swung a fist toward me, but I did not retreat in the slightest. I lunged straight at him, trading blow for blow. The entire mountain range shook violently, leaving Xian and the other women in complete disbelief. Legend says Xuan Long's physical body is incredibly ferocious, capable of overturning rivers and upending seas, yet Qi Lang can actually withstand him head-on. Qian muttered. Fellow Taoist Qi's constitution has changed. It is no longer merely the Yang spirit physique, but some other form of divine constitution. You must understand that within the three realms, physical constitutions are classified by their strength. We, the 7 sisters of the Cave of the Flowing Banquet, possess the bloodline of the Tai Yin poison spider. In other words, one could consider it the equivalent of a spirit body among the human race. Yet we ourselves were the standout survivors among hundreds of millions of spiders, finally transcending into human form. a goal that countless spirits pursue throughout their entire lives. Divine constitutions are already incredibly rare, and a divine body is as elusive as a phoenix feather or a killing horn. Xuanlong was a divine beast by birth, possessing a divine body that grants a massive advantage in physical combat for anyone below the heaven immortal realm. He has rampaged across West New Hezhou, rarely encountering a worthy adversary. Even though Binlang also possesses a divine body, Xuanlong's cultivation level overwhelms him by an entire major realm. At this very moment, Xuanlong reverted to his original form, and I pursued him relentlessly, landing blow after blow upon his dragon body. The mountain god looked on in a daze. Is a divine body truly this formidable? Could it be that he obtained the archaic Golden Crow bloodline from Bihan Pool and achieved the Golden Crow divine body? How powerful is the Golden Crow bloodline? His father was Dijun and his mother was Ji, both deities born of the pre-heaven era, once revered by all living things as supreme gods of the primordial age. With status second only to the sages, Xuanlong was stunned. What kind of constitution could possibly contend with his own? I am your father. As I spoke, I unleashed another strike, sending Xuanlong flying through the air. Humiliated by a mere human, Xuanlong immediately unleashed his innate bloodline divine ability. As the Xuanlong seal descended, I directly manifested the Lian Mountain, which condensed in the blink of an eye into a peak 50 zang tall. The mountain god below was completely dumbfounded. He clearly remembered that when I disciplined Yu Mingzi, my lenient mountain art had only just achieved minor success. After not seeing me for over 3 months, how has it become so terrifyingly powerful? As the mountain plummeted towards Xuanlong, he was struck by true terror and turned to flee. Didn't you want to seize my immortal spring just a moment ago? You even wanted to drive us away. Why are you running now? I gave chase, brandishing the Qiyang sword, and stripped the scales from Xuanlong one by one. The seven sisters watched this scene with wide, disbelieving eyes. Seventh sister has actually defeated Xuanlong. We sisters are truly blessed by the heavens to have met such a formidable man. If not for him, we would have likely failed to escape. At that moment, I descended before them, carrying a massive slab of dragon meat. That fellow ran too quickly. I only managed to carve off a few hundred jin of meat. Afterward, the Xian, Lanyan, Qingyu, and Bihi, the four sisters, poured tea and massaged my shoulders, attending to my every need. They provided me with the full treatment befitting a meritorious hero. Qingyan sat beside the eldest sister, Qinyan, assisting her in stabilizing her internal injuries. As evening fell, the mountain god Zhuanshan and the earth deity unexpectedly arrived for a visit. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, the mountain god produced a flask of medicine. This is an immortal elixir from the heavenly realm. Although it is only of the spirit grade, its efficacy for earth immortals is profound. I present this to the fairies for the healing of their wounds. Being addressed as fairies by the local deities left the seven sisters feeling deeply honored and surprised. The earth deity then turned his gaze toward me, asking, "Why do you not officially bind yourself as a Dapio companion with these fairies? It would be a beautiful union, one that others would surely envy." No sooner had these words been spoken than the seven sisters turned their shy, expectant gazes toward me. Unexpectedly, Qinyan knelt upon the ground. Seventh Taoist friend, I know that you possess heaven-sent talent and extraordinary fortune. You are destined to achieve great enlightenment in the future. To join in a Dabio partnership with humble demons like us, I fear it would be to your detriment in the days to come. However, if you are willing to protect our sisters, we are prepared to pledge our loyalty as your servants. We will serve you with all our hearts. Would you be willing to take control of this pan-silk cave? The other maidens scrambled to kneel behind Qinyan, each displaying a posture of absolute obedience and submission. I was caught completely off guard by this turn of events. I had not expected Qinyan to willingly lower her status and offer up her entire estate. I had no reason to decline. After all, there are still 300 years remaining before the start of the pilgrimage and the eventual destruction of Mount Luozhao. Before that time arrives, remaining with the seven spirits of the Pan-Silk Cave is, in fact, a safer path. Although variables may arise during this period, they will likely be accounted for within the 81 tribulations. Before then, I must find a way to help this group of female demons break their current predicament. I walked up to Qinyan, took her hand, and guided her back to the seat of honor. In that brief moment, the eldest sister, usually so composed, became remarkably shy. Suddenly, she seemed to recall something. Seventh young master, it is rumored that the Black Dragon has deep, tangled connections with the Myriad Saint Dragon King of Greenwave Pool. Having offended him, I fear it will be difficult for us to escape his retaliation. The Earth Deity stepped forward to clarify. He simply enjoys using the reputation of the Myriad Saint Dragon King to intimidate others. It would be a true laughingstock if he were actually capable of summoning the Dragon King. I embraced Qinyan by my side, Today, Xuanlong was suppressed by the Lianshan technique formation, and having been pierced by over a dozen red sun swords, he was driven by me in the direction of Western Lion City. It is a pity that the dragon race is born with the ability to ride the clouds and manipulate the mist. I could not outrun him, but he has been severely wounded this time. It will take at least 100 days of recovery to heal such injuries, and I suspect he will seek a secluded location to tend to his wounds for the time being. Earth deity, could you assist in tracking his whereabouts? I can consult my colleagues to make inquiries, and narrowing it down to a general region would be most beneficial. Before long, the mountain god and the earth deity bid their farewells and departed. As for the 6 daughters of Xian, they were all dutiful, taking the initiative to leave their eldest sister, Qingyan, alone with me to enjoy our spring night. I led Qian to the bedside, extinguishing the candles in the room one by one. It was time for us to consummate our union. Meanwhile, Xuanlong fled continuously until deep into the night, only daring to stop in a desolate mountain range to catch his breath. But before he could even begin his healing, a voice erupted from the sky. Which little dragon is this? Your bloodline is not entirely weak. The flavor should be quite exquisite. As those words were spoken, a gargantuan claw descended from the clouds, gripping him tightly within its palm. Xuanlong looked upward, only to see that the intruder was none other than the Demon King, golden-winged Great Peng. For a moment he was rendered speechless, unable even to utter a plea for mercy. Shortly thereafter, the golden-winged Great Peng flew to a celestial mountain, casually tossing Xuanlong at the foot of the peak. Princess, I have returned. Your bloodline and mine share the same origin. If we were to become Dazio companions, we would surely restore the divine prestige of the ancient phoenix. We would sweep across the 9 heavens and the 10 earths. This little dragon is fresh and delicious. I invite you, princess, to accept him. A maidservant hurried before Princess Kongwei to report the situation. That Great Peng discarded the Xuanlong and departed immediately. In the eyes of Princess Kongwei appeared a look of disdain. Pay no mind to him. Release that Xuanlong. However, that Xuanlong is quite severely wounded. Princess Kongwei approached Xuanlong. Seeing his body covered in injuries, she sighed softly. Let him stay for a few days. We practice vegetarianism and meditation on this mountain. Let it cleanse the bloodlust from his soul. Princess Kongwei is the daughter of the Buddhist peacock Great Wisdom King. Since her youth, she has been well versed in Buddhist nature and has always abhorred the taking of life. It is for this very reason that she remains upon Mount Quping, situated beside a mountain range teeming with demons, seeking only to protect the mortals living there from the ravages of evil spirits. Early the next morning, as I was still lost in a pleasant dream, I was suddenly stirred by a notification from the 10,000 Spirit Tome. The Taiyin poison essence has been successfully collected. I have gained 7,000 years of Dao cultivation. The depth of one's Dao cultivation determines the insight of a cultivator and directly influences the potency of their techniques and divine abilities. As of now, my Dao cultivation has reached nearly 10,000 years, a level that others must spend their entire lives painstakingly accumulating. Yet, thanks to the 10,000 Spirit Tome, I have obtained it with almost no effort. What exactly is this 10,000 Spirit Tome? Just then, Qingyan whispered softly beside me. Young master, it is time for us to depart. Shortly thereafter, Qian and I arrived at the Bihei Pond, where the remaining 6 sisters were already waiting. Having not seen you for but a single night, you seem even more radiant and captivating than before. I truly admire the intensity of the bond you and your sister shared last night. Qingyan blushed deeply, unable to refrain from chiding me with a few soft words. She then approached my side and confessed, I have reached the great perfection of the void refining and Dao integration stage. In other words, she has reached the pinnacle of the earth immortal realm. If that is the case, my lady, you are but a single step away from the heaven immortal realm. Qingyan let out a bitter smile, saying, although it is only one step, that final step is precisely what has stifled countless cultivators throughout history, often causing them to vanish like smoke and mist. Furthermore, while my cultivation base is full, my understanding of the Dao remains incomplete. Recalling the natural Dao patterns I had previously sensed beside the eye of the Baihe spring, I immediately led her as we dove into the depths of the pond. Surrounding the spring's eye were several strange, ethereal symbols carved into the stone. Upon seeing them, Qian was immediately captivated. She sat in a lotus position, her divine sense flowing forth to touch the Dao patterns, and began her meditation. These were the remnants of the Golden Crow's flames of law. A single glance was enough for me to fully comprehend their nature. I then extended my senses further into the depths beyond the spring's eye, where I discovered a stone. Atop the stone platform lay a sealed formation, containing lingering traces of the Golden Crow's bloodline. The Biha Pond was certainly not an ownerless object. Who, in the end, had set this seal? Was it the 100-eyed demon lord of Huanghua Temple, or the Bodhisattva Pipalan? Regardless of its origin, I sat cross-legged on the spot and began to contemplate the formation. To my surprise, this formation consisted of 36 layers of restrictions. As time passed, you comprehended 9 pieces of formation scripts, entering the path of array mastery. You comprehended 81 pieces of formation scripts, becoming a spirit array master. 2 months flashed by, and the first layer of restriction was shattered. In the next moment, pure, primordial celestial energy rushed into my face. I hastily circulated the Zheng Dao heaven technique, absorbing all the spiritual fortune into my body. Both my physical frame and cultivation base soared at that very moment. After the restrictions on the Biha pond were removed, a portion of the spiritual fortune merged into the water, delighting the 7 maidens bathing within. The spiritual energy is immense. What has the 7th brother done down there? Qinyan shook her head. He has merely been sitting by the spring, contemplating the Dao scripts. After 2 months of time, Qinyan had finally grasped the Dao scripts in their entirety. At that moment, I emerged from the water, and the 7 maidens gathered around, questioning me about the spiritual fortune. I explained the situation briefly. Just then, about 10 miles away, the voice of the earth deity echoed. The traces of the Xuanlong had been discovered. Thus, I set out alone toward the vicinity of Shituo Ridge. Previously, when I clashed with the Xuanlong, I had left a tracking talisman upon its body. So as long as I came within a 2-mile radius, I could sense its exact position. In a mere 2 months, the injuries on the Xuanzhilong's body had fully recovered. It had devoured a demon who had cultivated for several centuries to nourish its primordial energy. Many thanks to Princess Peacock. Compared to her, my cousin, Princess Wansheng, is as vicious as a viper. It is a pity that Princess Peacock is a devotee of Buddha, who forces me to eat vegetarian meals. But thankfully she is easy to deceive. At this very moment, a crimson blade light descended from the sky, carving a wound into the Xuanlong's belly so deep the bone was visible. Giving it no chance to flee, I swung my blade several more times, leaving it critically wounded. Realizing it could not defeat the human before it, it immediately exerted all its strength to escape. I pursued it relentlessly from behind. Below Kuiping Mountain, Princess Peacock naturally sensed the disturbance. The attendant by her side exclaimed in alarm, "This human is truly domineering. That Xuanzhilong will likely not escape this calamity." Princess Peacock shook her head. "It is a pity that he is so young, yet his heart is filled with such heavy killing intent." At the same time, I unleashed the Golden Crow Dharma, using my physical body to shatter the divine abilities of the Xuanzhilong directly. Princess Peacock sensed the aura of the bloodline upon me, and was immediately struck with shock, feeling as though I were an equal capable of standing against her. I landed directly upon the back of the black dragon, clenching my hands tightly to snap its very bones. Driven into a corner, the black dragon had no choice but to fly toward Princess Kongque. Knowing this was its only path to survival, it cried out aloud, "Princess, save me!" Regrettably, this princess of the Kongque kingdom, a beauty of peerless elegance, had no intention of intervening. The black dragon grew frantic. "Princess, did you not say that heaven is merciful and values all life? Did you not say that saving one life is more meritorious than building a 7-story pagoda? Princess, why will you not save me? Why won't you save me?" At the summit of Kuiping Mountain, a nun replied with chilling indifference, "The princess showed you mercy and sought to guide you toward benevolence, yet you escaped time and again, continuing to commit slaughter. Now you dare to return and question the princess. Your shamelessness knows no bounds." Hearing this, the black dragon fell into total despair. As it turned its head, a massive golden claw seized it. With a surge of strength, I crushed the black dragon to death, successfully subduing it. Received 300 years of cultivation. Acquired a strand of fire Dao fortune. Your comprehension of the flame law has reached the level of borrowing the Dao. I cast a glance at the nuns at the foot of the mountain. Having chosen to watch the carnage without interference, they would surely not dare to trouble me again. With this in mind, I hovered in mid-air and began to dismantle the beast. Just as I finished and prepared to depart, Princess Kongqi below suddenly spoke. "Young human, do not leave in such haste. Would you be willing to descend and discuss the dagger with me?" I guardedly declined. I am grateful for the princess's kind intentions, but I have pressing matters to attend to and truly lack the time. However, at the very next moment, a streak of divine light manifested beneath my feet. I possessed the 3 scrolls of the immortal method, and sincerely invite you to examine them. I bear no ill will. If you truly have no time, then so be it. Looking at the divine light beneath my feet, I was certain this was a being who had truly attained immortality. She possessed more than enough power to dispatch me, so I had no choice but to descend before Princess Kongque. Yet the first sight of her left me stunned. Despite being accustomed to the 7 beauties of the spider cave, my heart still missed a beat. Seeing me, the princess of Kongque, "Why do you not perform the ritual of obeisance?" Hearing this form of address, I immediately recalled that legend. The beautiful niece who guided the seekers of scriptures before the Lion Camel Mountain. The gorgeous woman, adorned in flowing robes of jewels and jade, whom countless youths dreamt of taking as a wife. I dared to open the Wanling 2 immediately. Holy Spirit Kongque, the first peacock in heaven and earth. To perceive the five elements spirit ring is to witness the very womb of heaven and earth. It is the bloodline of an innate Holy Spirit, born with mastery over the great Dabio of the five elements. It suppresses all things in existence and possesses no fatal weakness. Yet, to be stained by the blood of the peacock Holy Spirit is to be cursed by the Tao itself. It strips away one's fortune and binds the soul in sin. I folded my hands in a respectful bow. Qi Tian greets the princess. Fellow Taoist Qi, there is no need for such formalities. This princess possesses 3 sets of immortal techniques. All are treasures of the Buddhist school. One must wield the power of compassion and wisdom to unleash their true potential. The first is the immobilizing light finger. The second is the soul-calming incantation. The third is the treasure-seizing art. Although they are merely low-grade immortal techniques, they are considered precious. I could not help but feel puzzled. Such generosity, giving away immortal techniques for free, immediately put me on high alert. I probed cautiously. I wonder what conditions the princess might have. Fellow Taoist Qi, you may choose one of these 3 immortal techniques. The immobilizing light finger is a binding technique. It can render an opponent completely unable to move their body. The soul-calming incantation targets the primordial spirit of a cultivator. Chanting it can induce mental fatigue, lethargy, and daze, causing all desire for battle to vanish. The treasure-seizing art requires one's own treasure to act as a medium before it can be deployed. During a duel, once unleashed, this technique forcibly knocks the opponent's treasure from their grasp. Princess Kong Qi revealed these 3 techniques with deep, ulterior motives. All of them were designed to subdue an opponent without taking their life. The significance of these 3 methods was clear: to cease hostilities and halt the conflict. I pondered this seriously. The treasure-seizing art requires a personal magical artifact to serve as a medium. Aside from that, there remain the immobilizing light finger and the soul-calming incantation, one targeting the physical body, the other the primordial spirit. After a moment of contemplation, I chose the immobilizing light finger. Compared to the weakening effects and mental dulling of the soul-calming incantation, I prefer the direct and absolute nature of the immobilizing light finger. Once a person is immobilized, can I not simply crush them beneath several giant mountains? That would be quite satisfying, would it not? The immortal technique transformed into a beam of light, entering the center of my brow. Bolstered by 10,000 years of cultivation, I immediately gained a measure of insight into this art. I then pointed toward the maidservant nearby. Although she possessed the strength of an earth immortal, once struck by the technique, she was unable to struggle in the slightest. How audacious! I, the princess, gifted you an immortal technique? I released the light-fixing finger and gave an embarrassed smile, saying, I couldn't help myself. I only meant to test it briefly. Please do not hold it against me. The peacock princess standing beside me revealed a hint of astonishment. In such a short span of time, you have mastered an immortal technique, and you are even capable of immobilizing someone at the same cultivation level. Your potential is indeed immense, but your light-fixing finger is currently only at the minor success stage. If you were to cultivate this technique to perfection, I fear you could use it at the earth immortal realm to forcibly immobilize a heaven immortal. I thank the princess for this technique. I will certainly make good use of it, and will never let you be disappointed. I roughly guessed that the peacock princess must value my talent, which is why she gifted me this immortal technique to recruit me. Let us hope so. With your natural talent, you will surely become a figure of great renown throughout the western Niuhe prefecture, and perhaps even the 3 realms. Remember, heaven values life. You should refrain from excessive slaughter. The sea of suffering is boundless, but a turn of the head is the shore. Seeing that she held me in such high regard, I immediately replied with a solemn expression. I have heard that in Buddhist teachings, there is a phrase, lay down the butcher's knife, and instantly attain Buddhahood. I will surely devote my heart to the Buddha. With a 3-foot sword in hand, I shall purge all demons and evil spirits from this world. The peacock princess was stunned, sensing that something was not quite right. Yet seeing that I seemed to have gained an epiphany, she remained quite pleased. I was also inwardly delighted. Fortunate to be favored by the peacock princess. If there is a chance to grow closer, I will have gained a powerful back. As for the matter of laying down the knife to become a Buddha, that was merely lip service. Besides, I use a 7-day sword. Whether or not I lay down the blade has nothing to do with me, does it? After bidding farewell, the peacock princess invited me to attend her sermons on Buddhist scripture. Thus, 2 hours later, I took my leave of the peacock princess and returned to Luoshu Mountain. Upon arriving at the cave dwelling, Qingyan immediately scanned me from head to toe. Young master, you have been gone for 3 or 4 days. Have you found that black dragon? I pulled out a massive piece of dragon meat to boil in oil, stating that tonight we would have dragon liver as a snack. They suddenly understood that black dragon had already perished at the hands of the young master. Afterward, I took several more pieces of dragon liver and dragon meat and went personally to the mountain god temple and the earth deity shrine to offer thanks. The earth deity appeared both happy and afraid, But he suddenly let out a long sigh. "Brother, why do you sigh? Fellow Taoists, there are things you do not know. In the Zuzi kingdom, demons are causing chaos, and heavy rain has fallen incessantly for half a month. True immortal Xuanyang has calculated that in 3 days, a river spirit from the Huai River will drift here, taking advantage of the torrential rain. Therefore, he has brought out 3,000 Xuanyang pills as a reward for exterminating the demon, specifically inviting great cultivators from all corners to assist in the exorcism. One must know that only powerhouses at the golden immortal level can refine the qi of a mortal spirit, merging it with their own Tao to forge a golden pill. This is a supreme grade immortal elixir. Upon consumption, not only will your cultivation base increase significantly, but you will also absorb the Daoco essence of the alchemist who refined it, acting as if you received personal guidance from a master, providing immense benefits for one's enlightenment. Hearing this, I immediately returned to the Silk Cave to relay this information to Qi Yan. Over the next few days, I erected a mountain-protecting grand formation on Mount Luchu, one so formidable that even a powerful earth immortal could not breach it. However, as we were about to part ways, Qi Yan grasped my hand. "Young master, I shall accompany you." Seeing the resolute expression on her face, I had no choice but to agree. The 6 other women also wished to follow, but they were sternly rebuked by Qi Yan. After making all necessary arrangements, I set off with Qi Chuyan directly toward the Zuzi kingdom. As we approached the borders of the Zuzi kingdom, I observed many cultivators arriving to exterminate the demons. The common people below were suffering under the brutality of the monsters. While the cultivators witnessed this, they were required to register with true person Xuanyang first. Otherwise, even if they slew the demons and pacified the chaos, who would recognize their merits? Consequently, the commoners below harbored hope of salvation, unaware that the immortals above stood by with cold indifference, watching as demons devoured people like livestock. I am a man of integrity from the 21st century. Naturally, I could not stand to witness such scenes. I immediately drew my Qinyang sword and charged into the demonic horde, causing countless monster heads to fall to the earth in an instant. Seeing this, Qinyan followed closely behind. With the husband striking and the wife providing support, we carved a path through the monsters, saving lives all along the way. Half an incense stick of time later, the earth deity of Mount Luchu rushed over in a panic. He handed his immortal record to me. "This old man is late, Taoist Qi Yan. After the 2 of you slay a demon, ensure their blood touches this immortal record, and your contributions will be officially recorded." The earth deity did not depart, choosing instead to stay and offer his own strength to the cause. As night fell, and the first day of demon slaying came to an end, Qi Yan looked at the immortal record in her hand, which had lost its original hue. It was stained with the blood of at least 1,000 spirits and monsters. Though her heart surged with excitement, seeing the exhaustion etched upon my face, her beautiful eyes dimmed with a trace of sorrow. The earth deity nearby let out a bitter laugh. "In the task of saving lives, one must only do their best. I shall make a trip to see true person Xuanyang. These contributions can be exchanged daily for the Xuanyang golden elixir. Once this medicinal brew is consumed, no matter how weary you are, your fatigue will vanish." Not long after, within the walls of Zhuzi City, Master Xuanyang was distributing the Xuanyang elixirs. A man named Rui Linju received 49 pills. The remaining individuals received no more than 3. At this moment, the earth deity stepped before Master Xuanyang. It must be noted that an yin deity accepting medicinal pills on another's behalf was not merely rare. It was entirely unprecedented. The people of Ruilin Mountain could not help but mockingly remark, "What a grand display! To command an yin deity and an immortal official. In my Zhuzi territory, to have someone so insolent and reckless. Perhaps we have been executing too few demons. Are you afraid to show your face?" The earth deity immediately raised his voice and shouted, "Fellow Taoist Qi is currently stationed at Anfeng City, protecting the common people. He did not come here himself, only because he has been locked in battle for an entire day and is exhausted beyond endurance." This earth deity speaks in such a laughable manner. Who among us has not fought for a whole day? Who among us is not weary? Laughter erupted from all sides. "Oh!" Master Xuanyang furrowed his brow. "Could this be the fellow Taoist Qitian?" "It is indeed fellow Taoist Qitian." The laughter suddenly ceased. The ones who arrived to exterminate the demons were Taoist Qitian and Taoist Qian from Luozhu Mountain. The moment the 2 approached Anfeng City and witnessed the demons slaughtering the human race, they did not stop to pay their respects, but instead struck immediately to slay the demons. My immortal records were submitted late, and much of the merit could not be recorded in time. I am truly ashamed. As he spoke, he presented an immortal record stained red with the blood of demons, yet the surrounding cultivators appeared somewhat displeased. Everyone had come to provide aid, naturally aiming for Master Xuanyang and his Xuanyang golden elixirs, but on the surface, they still had to don the cloak of righteousness for the sake of the common people, to maintain their dignity. The first thing everyone did upon arriving was to pay their respects to Master Xuanyang, with the immortal records handed over by the Yin deities without exception. But the conduct of Qitian being mentioned before such a crowd was no different than a slap in the face to everyone present. Rui Linju forced a smile. I am sure this fellow Taoist Qitian has also slain countless demons. Elder Yu, on the other hand, wished to strike up an acquaintance with him. Master Xuanyang smiled and said, "It seems you two share a connection. He is the one who slew Yu Mingzi. Speaking of which, you still owe him a debt of gratitude for purging the sect of its traitors." Rui Linju was instantly stunned, his expression turning rigid. Qitian and Qian had slain 331 demons. Even he himself was somewhat astonished, but the merit had already been recorded in the ledger. This is the mandate of the Heavenly Court. Fraud is absolutely non-existent here. The crowd around them began to buzz instantly. Could these two fellow Taoists already be celestial immortals? Hearing the endless stream of praise reaching his ears, Rui Linzi's face twitched uncontrollably. The 7 master and disciples of Ruilin Mountain wore expressions that were unsightly to the extreme. Yu Mingzi died at the hands of Qitian. For an outsider to handle the purging of their own sect in their stead was no different than being slapped in the face before a crowd. Furthermore, the demon-slaying achievements they had once boasted of before Qitian were not even worth mentioning now. For a moment, the 7 master and disciples of Ruilin Mountain felt flushed with shame and anger, resentment brewing deep within their hearts. Master Xuanyang retrieved 168 Xuanyang pills and presented them to the Earth Deity. The Earth Deity collected the golden pills into his spatial bag and promptly took his leave. Not long after, the Earth Deity personally delivered the Xuanyang pills into my hands. Sensing the profound Tao aura contained within them, Qi Yan was so stirred that her heart began to hammer against her chest. The Earth Deity then recounted the events that had transpired in Zhuzi City. He retold the story in its entirety, and I merely waved my hand. It is of no consequence. You were merely speaking on my behalf. However, one must remain vigilant against the fellow disciples of that Yu Mingzi. Following this, I began to distribute the medicinal pills. The Earth Deity adamantly refused to accept any, stating only that the Heavenly Court would bestow separate rewards upon the spirits of the underworld later. Qi Yan also only took 10 pills for the time being. After each person consumed 1, they sat cross-legged to refine the medicinal essence. As I possess a profound cultivation base, those Xuanyang pills were like mere beans to me. One after another, I tossed them into my mouth. Both my cultivation level and Dabio aura surged at a rapid pace. By midnight, I flipped through the Myriad Spirit Compendium. My cultivation had now reached 18,900 years. On the compendium, ancient characters shimmered with brilliant light. The Huai River of the mountains and seas, the 4th of the human realm's great waters. The Huai River flows vast and torrential, endless since ancient times, nurturing 10,000 demons and monsters, brimming with immortal spirit. I bathed in the heavy downpour, and the river depicted in the compendium grew ever more vivid in color. This was the first time I discovered that the Myriad Spirit Compendium could also collect rivers. The method was incredibly simple. All it required was contact. At this moment, a young woman approached my side in an agitated state. I am the princess of the Zhuzi kingdom, and my name is Su Wanning. If you had not slain the demons and saved the people today, I fear Anfeng City would have fallen. Master Wanning has a request. Would you be willing to teach me how to cultivate the Tao? Although my swordsmanship is ranked among the top in the Zhuzi kingdom, when facing demons, the strength of a mortal is, in the end, simply insufficient. I shook my head. Most of the people who came here today, myself included, merely appeared as though they could soar through the heavens and traverse the earth. In truth, they are merely cultivators possessing a modicum of magical power. They are far from being worthy of the title, immortal. But I can offer you a trade. Saying this, I produced a profound Yang golden elixir. For a mortal, consuming this pill will not only extend one's lifespan, but it will also temper the physical body to its absolute limit, granting you the strength to slay demons and monsters. Su Xuanning was somewhat agitated. What is the price I must pay? Your insights into the sword Dao? Su Xuanning accepted the profound Yang golden elixir. She believed that the man standing before her was a person of noble character. I pressed a single finger against the center of her brow. As I touched Su Xuanning's soul, the Myriad Spirit Compendium within my body trembled once more. A sword soul. A soul that has undergone countless cycles of reincarnation. Its essence remains unchanged, eternal. Those who bear a sword soul traverse 10,000 lifetimes. Even though the memories of past lives are erased by the old woman of the Meng Bridge, the insights into the sword can be accumulated without end, progressing straight toward the sword Dabio within the 3,000 great Dabios. Upon death, the sword soul enters reincarnation again. Successfully collected the sword soul, obtained a sword Dao seed. I had not expected this princess of Dangxia to be a reincarnation of a sword soul. Upon regaining her senses, Su Xuanning felt a wave of embarrassment. My swordsmanship, though refined, is merely that of a mortal. Yet it has been exchanged for an immortal's golden elixir. I thank you, immortal master. I was left unable to weep or laugh, rendered speechless by her humility. It is I who should be thanking you. Following that, I instructed her to consume the profound Yang golden elixir, while I stood guard to protect her. By midnight, a colossal creature with 9 heads gazed greedily down upon this land. Under the oppressive aura of the 9-headed bird, all cultivators below the heaven immortal realm suffered immensely. The earth deity spoke with a trembling voice. This Zhu Ying is currently at the golden immortal realm. I wonder if true Lord Xuanyang can contend with it. But no sooner had he finished speaking, than true Lord Xuanyang fell into a disadvantageous position. However, at that very moment, the peacock princess suddenly manifested. The Zhu Ying roared in uncontrollable rage. You are a holy spirit, yet you have come to protect these weak human beings? Though I am merciful, subduing demons is the nature of the Buddha. Seeing this situation, the earth deity breathed a sigh of relief. Princess Kongyikui and the Xuanyang practitioner joined forces, proving sufficient to contend with Zhu Ying. Even if they could not slay the beast, they could at least hold it at bay. Zhu Ying let out a monstrous roar, ordering the horde of demons to resume their slaughter of the human race. However, because this rain was formed from the waters of the Huai River, the cultivation levels of many practitioners began to plummet. In an instant, the majority of the crowd descended into chaos, fleeing for their lives. Amidst the fierce battle, many practitioners cast surreptitious glances toward Qi Yan. They had previously assumed my illustrious achievements were all the work of Qian Yan. Yet as I wielded the Qi Yang sword to meet the rushing fiends, I began a grand massacre. The sword Dao seed obtained from Su Wanning quickly took root and sprouted, flourishing as the number of demons I slew soared. The sword in my hand moved with increasing speed. Seeing such strength, no one could remain unmoved. Every strike I unleashed was stained with the blood of demons, and with every swing of the blade, my sword technique continued to refine. Beside me, Su Wanning could not help but exclaim in wonder, a brilliant sword heart. Truly, he is an immortal master. The sword techniques I have cultivated for decades, the immortal master has mastered in but a few hours. By the time dawn broke, this wave of demons had reached its end. Yet, as I pierced through the monster before me, I surged once more deep into the heart of the demonic horde, the aura of Tao manifesting upon my body. Witnessing this scene, the convictions of the practitioners were shaken to their core. He is on the verge of entering the Dao, using these demons and monsters to seek the path. They had never witnessed an earth immortal so terrifying as this. Clearly, he is only at the early stage of the Gora, Liangshu Hedao realm, yet his strength already overwhelms many who have reached the pinnacle of the same realm. Furthermore, they had never seen anyone, in order to seek the Tao, charge alone into a swarm of over 1,000 demons, using slaughter to question the Tao. Such a mad endeavor. The 7 demons flew into a rage. Does this human dare to hold us in such contempt? Kill him. We shall feast upon his flesh and blood, shatter his soul, and ensure this boy never finds salvation. As the words fell, countless demons surged toward me. Qin Yan was struck by sudden panic, her hand tightening in anxiety. The very next moment, a piercing sound of a sword hum resonated between heaven and earth, echoing across 100 miles, and Su Yaning let out an exclamation of shock. This was clearly the realm of heaven and man as one. Countless cultivators were so stunned that their jaws dropped. Taoist friend, look! He has entered the path of the sword. The sword Tao is one of the 3,000 great Taos. Between heaven and earth, there are endless manifestations of the Tao, the 3,000 great Taos, the 49 heavenly Taos, and hundreds of millions of lesser Taos. Yet, the 3,000 great Taos are the only true eternal laws among the 3 categories. Its power is not inferior to the heavenly Tao. In a certain sense, it is even stronger. Your sword Dao seed has sprouted. Your sword Dao has officially entered the path, reaching the stage of perfect understanding. Feeling the heaven-shaking and earth-shattering changes within my body, I unleashed my full power, and a sword radiance soared into the sky. In the blink of an eye, 200 or 300 demons perished. By this point, the demon horde was finally broken in spirit and scattered in all directions, fleeing for their lives. The wave of demons that had besieged Anfang City for several hours finally dissipated in this very moment. I swallowed a profound Yang golden elixir, replenishing my nearly exhausted spiritual power. Qian immediately rushed over, her face pale and filled with a sense of grievance. You were too reckless. I patted her hand gently. I have my own methods of protection. There is no need to worry. The remaining cultivators also approached me one by one, clasping their hands in respect. Many thanks, Brother Qi. Without you, we would certainly not have been able to hold this city. Once the Venerable Xuanyang returns, this contribution will certainly be made known. I could not help but feel curious. I wonder how the situation is faring on the side of Venerable Xuanyang. The Earth Deity stepped forward to explain that battles at the Golden Immortal level are pure collisions of Tao laws, world-destroying and terrifyingly destructive. Venerable Xuanyang and Princess Kongkui must have driven 9 infant away to engage in battle elsewhere. We should focus on eliminating the remaining demons to save the people, and wait for news with a calm mind. At that very moment, a man flew in from the distance. I have come from Zhuzi City to request reinforcements. Which one of you is Taoist friend Qi Tian? It is I. The demon tide at Zhuzi City has lasted for 3 days and 3 nights, and even now, it has not retreated. On the first day, Taoist friend Qi eliminated over 1,000 demons. Assuming you possess formidable means, please return with me at once to provide reinforcements. Everyone was slightly taken aback, as that location held the largest number of stationed personnel. Such a situation should not have occurred. The man let out a bitter laugh. Aside from the territories of you lords, the remaining 3 strongholds are all pleading for assistance. Our manpower has been spread quite thin, and furthermore, those cunning demons and spirits are far too devious. They knew that Zhuzi City held the highest number of mortals, so their onslaught was the most intense. I immediately agreed, nodding to Qian. I signaled for her to be at ease, and before long, we reached the outskirts of Zhuzi City. I came to a halt. Honored guests, this location is poorly chosen. If one were to conduct clandestine activities, it would be all too easy to be discovered. You are disciples of Yu Mingzi, are you not? As I spoke, I drew my sword and slashed several times at the empty air. Immediately, 7 figures emerged one after another. This was the effect of invisibility talismans. The leader, an elderly man, wore a face filled with murderous intent. I am a cultivator of Ruilin Mountain, he declared. I am known as Ruilinzi. Yu Ming was an unworthy disciple whom I expelled from our sect. But that still does not give you the right to slay him. You have some courage, young man, but prepare to pay for blood with blood. Ruilinzi assumed victory was already within his grasp, yet in the very next heartbeat, I swung my sword and struck down 6 disciples of Ruilin Mountain. Ruilinzi stood there, completely stunned. Realizing the danger, he no longer dared to hold back. He immediately deployed the Great Talisman Array, and I channeled the entirety of my spiritual power into the Qitian sword. Accompanied by the thunderous roar of the Great Tao, the Great Talisman Array evaporated into nothingness in an instant. Ruilinzi was likewise pierced through the heart by a single strike. After looting their supplies, to prevent any possibility of them feigning death, I incinerated their remains until they were reduced to ash. Returning to Anfeng City, I recounted these events to Qi Yan and the Earth Deity. At that moment, the voice of Master Xuanyang echoed from the heavens. This calamity has passed. You may all proceed to Zhuzi City to convene. Shortly thereafter, within Zhuzi City, Master Xuanyang, having returned from his yin spirit state, learned of how I had slain the 7 disciples and their master from Ruilin Mountain. The Earth Deity of Anfeng City stepped forward to provide an explanation. It was Ruilinzi and his party who harbored wicked intentions. They lured 7 fellow cultivators away, intending to kill them and seize their treasures, but they did not expect to be countered and slain by him. This entire affair was of their own making. Everyone had witnessed it, and the cultivators of Anfeng City also came forward one by one to bear witness. The Peacock Princess, standing by my side, cast her gaze toward me. Compared to a few days ago, a trace of merit had gathered upon my being, sufficient to prove that the Ruilin disciples were but hypocrites burdened by sin. Master Xuanyang stood frozen in shock. It appeared the princess held a special regard for Qitian. The Peacock Princess made no attempt to conceal it. I met him at Quping Mountain. This fellow Taoist shares a connection with my Dharma, and I have personally imparted teachings to him. As these words left her lips, everyone present looked upon me with expressions of envy. One must understand that the Peacock Princess hails from Mount Lingshan. To be imparted with her teachings means a monumental opportunity to directly enter the Buddhist path of cultivation. Backed by the unfathomable prestige of Mount Lingshan, it is no exaggeration to say that even a common mouse from that mountain could traverse the Western fish transformation continent with impunity. However, she continued, the murderous intent currently clinging to you is far too dense. I hope you remember the saying, lay down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha on the spot. Keep this in your heart at all times. I turned toward the Peacock Princess and clasped my hands in gratitude. I offer my deepest thanks to the princess for stepping forward to vindicate my innocence. Right and wrong have now been clearly distinguished. The Peacock Princess offered me an encouraging look before turning her attention to Master Xuanyang. Master, now that the calamity has been resolved, I shall stay no longer. We shall meet again. With those words, she transformed into a stream of 5-colored divine light. In a flash, she vanished into the west. When suddenly, a resonant voice echoed from the 9 heavens. Master Xuanyang, bring forth the individual with the greatest contribution to receive their reward. Master Xuanyang reviewed the records. Qi Yan and I had jointly slain 982 demons, marking us as having the greatest merit in this disaster. Thereafter, Master Xuanyang led us upward toward the clouds. At this moment, Qiu Ying had already been shorn of 8 of its heads, its cultivation base dropping to the early stage of a celestial immortal, as it became the mount of Lord Zhenwu. After exchanging greetings with Lord Zhenwu, he looked directly at me and stated, "I have heard that you slaughtered fellow cultivators, and further, that you have entangled yourself with a demon. Your heart of the Tao is unstable. You will struggle to achieve greatness. This profound origin pill, capable of granting a millennium of cultivation, is precious beyond measure. It would be better to disperse it as rainfall to nourish the diligent cultivators below." He gave me no opportunity to offer an explanation. Lord Zhenwu crushed the profound origin pill, with Zhu Ying seizing the chance to swallow half of its medicinal potency, while the remainder descended upon the mortal world as rain. Witnessing this, Master Xuanyang was incensed, yet dared not speak a word. Qi Yan felt even more aggrieved in her heart. I silently reached out. The family name remains unharmed. Having finished the task, Zhenwu Xingjun immediately mounted his Zhu Ying and soared into the heavens. Master Xuanyang gritted his teeth in hatred. Who could have imagined that the heavenly court was even more corrupt than the imperial courts of the mortal realm? You came here under my orders, only to suffer such grievances. I can only blame my own incompetence, for I have failed you. Having said this, he produced a jade bottle and an immortal talisman, offering them to me. Within this bottle lie over 2,000 Xuanyang golden elixirs. Distribute them among the disciples below according to their merits. This immortal talisman will guide you to Ziyun Mountain, where a destined opportunity awaits. Just as I prepared to decline, Master Xuanyang wore a look of deep shame and immediately rode the clouds away. Upon returning to Zuzi City and completing the distribution of the golden elixirs, Qinyan and I were left with over 300 remaining pills. I took half of my share and handed them to Qinyan, instructing her to take them to Luaozhao Mountain for the sisters to use in their cultivation, while I set off in the direction indicated by the immortal talisman. The immeasurable kalpa is terrifyingly perilous. Legend says the only way to avoid it is to be accepted as a disciple of a saint. Yet, after the investiture of the gods, the saints vanished. To survive the trials of the three realms, the common folk must seek the protection of a powerful faction. Witnessing the arrogance of Zhenwu Xingjun, I could not help but reflect seriously upon this matter. Thus, during the journey to the West Kalpa, the two greatest powers, Buddhism and Taoism, never truly erupted into an all-out conflict. To call this Kalpa a struggle between Buddha and Tao is inaccurate. It would be more fitting to say that both sides carefully laid out a chessboard together. They calculate the heavens, the earth, and all living beings. Damn it, the world has changed. Fighting to the death in cultivation leads nowhere. Sun Wukong is the clearest example of this. Though he formed the alliance of the seven great sages and commanded countless demons, standing invincible against 10,000 troops, and defying the 9 layers of heaven with his might, he ultimately achieved success only to face total failure. Given my current circumstances, Princess Kongkui represents an excellent breakthrough point. I shall cling to her influence for now. At that very moment, a massive claw lunged at me, and I immediately unleashed the Golden Crow technique to parry the blow. The Zhu Ying, now reduced to a single head, revealed its true form. Just now, I sensed the Golden Crow bloodline within you. Zhenwu Xingjun, intentionally let you go. You have drained your vital essence. Follow him to the heavenly palace. I did not fly into a rage but laughed instead. Your arrival is most timely. If I were to slay you here in the lower realm, I wonder how that old dog would feel. Having said this, I pushed the Golden Crow technique to its absolute limit and charged directly at the Zhu Ying. The Zhu Ying flew into a rage, shocked that I would dare to pit my physical strength against its own. It immediately swung its neck, crashing down toward me. With a dull thud, blood began to seep from the gaps in Zhu Ying's fangs. I, meanwhile, was sent flying backward by the impact. I unleashed the Purple Sun Divine Fire and pushed the Sword Dao Seed within my Danshin to its limit, carving into Zhu Ying's flesh with a single stroke, eliciting a shriek of agony. Damn you! An earth immortal is nothing but an ant, yet you dare to injure me? Insignificant grass, you are merely a beast from the banks of the Huai River. I have slaughtered your kind more times than I can count. Upon hearing this, Zhu Ying reacted like a cat whose tail had been trampled, erupting into a frenzy of frantic shrieks. Once again, I poured my strength into the Scarlet Sun Sword, forcing my earth immortal cultivation base to unleash the full extent of my sword Dago. It was an immense strain, but as the blade hovered before him, Zhu Ying's eyes widened in terror, and he writhed, desperate to flee. Let us see if you are faster, I muttered, or if my swords are swifter. A shockwave of sword energy roared across 10 miles as I swung my blade to strike down the great disaster. Zhu Ying was so terrified that his soul nearly left his body, and he could not help but wail toward the heavens. Master, save me! I am the mount of the Zhenwu Star-Lord. You would dare to kill me? Upon hearing these words, I struck without hesitation, severing Zhu Ying's final head. Zhenwu Star-Lord, you usurped my merits, and plundered what was rightfully mine, all while looking down upon me with disdain. For such transgressions, I shall surely bring about your end. Losing a mount at the Golden Immortal Realm. I wonder, Zhenwu Starlord, does your heart ache even a little? System notification. Successfully subjugated the ancient fierce beast, Zhu Ying. Received 9,000 years of cultivation and the origin law of Zhu Ying. Received 9 lives technique. Received a massive surge of fire Dao essence. Simultaneously, Zhenwu Starlord felt his connection to Zhu Ying suddenly shatter. Damnation! How dare he slay my mount? As he tracked the residual fluctuations of Taoist magic to the battlefield, he saw nothing upon the mountain peak but a mangled corpse. It was the lifeless shell of Zhu Ying. Qi Tian, your audacity knows no bounds. Having slain Zhu Ying, I hastened toward Kuiping Mountain to request the Peacock Princess to heal my wounds and to inform her of the opportunity bestowed upon me by Xuan Yang Zhenren. Yet, at that very moment, Zhenwu Starlord caught up to me. Princess Kongkui stepped forward to intercept him, then turned to look at me, asking, "Have you committed an offense against the heavenly laws?" One must understand that the woman beside me is but a fraction of the power held by Zhenwu Xingjun, who himself is not worth a single strand of hair compared to the Bodhisattva. Thus, I felt no fear at all. Your Excellency, why have you arrived by riding the clouds? Is that Zhu Ying not supposed to be your personal mount? Why is it not by your side? Zhenwu Xingjun trembled with fury, struggling to contain his outburst. Boy, I have remembered your face. Though the 3 realms are vast, the heavenly court remains the master of all directions. You shall not escape the palm of my hand. Having said that, he mounted the clouds and departed immediately. Princess Kongkui looked at me, perplexed, and asked, "How did you manage to offend him?" I did not hide anything from her. I recounted the entire ordeal exactly as it had occurred. Princess Kongake looked up toward the heavens. In the vast path of the 7-day great Dadio of immortality, possessing talent does not guarantee the attainment of the true fruit, nor is becoming a heavenly immortal the final destination. A heavenly immortal is merely a beginning. Your aptitude and comprehension are truly rare, but to cultivate smoothly, that alone is far from enough. If you desire it, I can recommend you to join the Buddhist sect for cultivation. I have no interest in being a monk. Furthermore, I am a man with a family. Princess Kongkui could not be bothered to say more. She gently tapped her finger against my forehead. The merit upon your person is sufficient to condense the golden light of merit. However, you lack knowledge of the method. I can impart the Buddhist technique for condensing merit to you, a helping hand. Consider it a gift. You need not join the Buddhist sect, nor do you need to become a monk. Upon hearing this, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Many thanks, Princess. So it was a gift received for free. Receiving something for nothing brought me great joy. But no sooner had she finished transmitting the technique, a third eye manifested upon my forehead. Princess Kongkui's expression became rather peculiar. I had opened the heavenly eye using the power of merit. Opening the heavenly eye reveals divine consciousness. As I looked upon Princess Kongkui, I discovered that auspicious clouds and water vapors were gathered above her head, never dissipating. This heavenly eye also possesses the ability to discern good from evil. Observing one's true form, the power of merit has finally condensed. Follow me, and let us go to comprehend this fortuitous encounter. However, at this very moment, the Myriad Spirit Compendium was activated. I observed that a single finger on the portrait of Princess Kongkui had gained a hint of color. It seems the collection process has begun, and I have come to realize that a physical marital union is not the only prerequisite. Various intimate interactions between us are also sufficient to accelerate the accumulation. I stood beside Princess Kongkui, utilizing the auspicious clouds beneath her feet to travel, my gaze unintentionally drifting to the side. Beneath her slender waist, amidst the swaying emerald locks, those perfectly contoured curves were full and shapely, appearing exceptionally captivating. What exactly is this fortuitous encounter? Princess Konggetek made no attempt to conceal the truth. It is an ancient, supreme treasure, though only a fragment remains. Within it lies an endless depth of Taoist techniques, along with numerous relics of the past. Not long after, upon our arrival at the destination, the golden-winged great peng eagle immediately moved to welcome her. Princess, you have finally arrived. It has been many days, and I have missed you dearly. Princess Konggeek turned her head away in disgust. Great Peng, do not block my path. I was stunned. This golden-winged great Peng eagle, who relentlessly pursued Princess Kongkui without success, is known by the title, the Peng, who travels 10,000 miles. A figure of formidable strength, he is someone who would dare to exchange blows with the Buddha himself at the slightest provocation. Furthermore, considering their lineage, the great Peng Yang and Princess Kongdoke could be considered relatives. During the primordial era, when the Yuan Feng was imbued with the yin and yang energies of heaven and earth, she birthed 2 eggs, which hatched into the peacock and the great Peng. Princess Kongkui is the daughter of Kong Xuan. In terms of generation, they are uncle and niece. As my gaze swept across the others in attendance, the Myriad Spirit Compendium activated 4 times in rapid succession. The golden-winged Great Peng Eagle, the 100-eyed Demon Lord, the Centipede Spirit, the 9-tailed Fox Elder, Dong Yalong, and there was also a man in black robes, whose true form was a 5-clawed golden dragon. The man in black looked toward me, asking, "Why has Master Xuanyang not come?" Princess Kongkui explained on my behalf. "Master Xuanyang is preoccupied with urgent matters, and has therefore gifted this fortuitous encounter to Qilang. He played a leading role in repelling the demon tide at the Huai River." The man in black had clearly never heard of my title, yet he still politely introduced himself. "I am the Crown Prince of the West Sea Dragon Palace." I immediately recalled that this was the very same Demon King from Journey to the West, who had once overwhelmed the little white dragon at the Blackwater River. Although he appeared only once, he displayed an incredibly formidable strength, especially his silver spear techniques, which were truly unforgettable. "I have long admired your esteemed reputation." After exchanging conventional greetings with him, Princess Kongkui secretly sent a voice transmission to me. "These individuals are all reinforcements from the mortal realm, gathered to assist Zhenwu Xingjun in suppressing Wu Zhiqi, and shortly, they will also have the qualifications to seek their own destinies and opportunities, among whom are many vicious demons and monsters. You must act with caution." Suddenly, a young girl urged impatiently, stating that all the meritorious figures had already arrived. "Then let us enter the scattered leaf quickly." As the scattered leaf manifested, everyone grew restless, eager to enter first. Once everyone had gone inside, the young girl looked at me with great dissatisfaction. "Why are you still standing there like a statue? I was waiting for you just now. I am here under the orders of my master to subdue Wu Zhiqi. Jiyu Fanjia is close to completing the mission. I see you hold only a lowly position. Your magical power is meager, and you don't even understand the principle of the early bird catches the worm. If you tarry, the opportunities will be snatched away by others. As for subduing Wu Zhiqi, is that not the achievement of Zhenwu Xingjun?" The young girl wore a look of disdain, dismissing him as a good-for-nothing who could not even handle a single Wu Zhiqi. If it were not for my intervention, this disaster would not have ended for several more months. I then asked a follow-up question. "Who is your master?" The young girl was incredibly arrogant. Her eyes practically rolled to the heavens. "Even those Tai Yi Sanxian aren't qualified to know my master's name. And you wish to know it as well?" I was left speechless, caught between laughter and tears. "This is Ziyun Mountain. I had heard that there is a Ganhua cave on this mountain, where the Pailanpo Bodhisattva resides in secluded cultivation. But who is your master?" The young girl was instantly stunned. "How did you know?" I intentionally lowered my voice, implying, "There are those above me who know." Upon hearing this, the young girl immediately understood, because Pailanpo Bodhisattva had once said that in this world, those who know of her place of cultivation are very few. Few, even, had heard of her title, and those who had were none other than the preeminent figures of the 3 realms today. They were all at the Dailubo Golden Immortal stage, and shared a profound friendship with her master. So, we were on the same side. The young girl immediately changed her demeanor. "Your name is Qi Tian, is it not?" "The Bodhisattva bestowed upon me the religious name Yun Meng." "Which deity is your master?" I revealed a look of hesitation. Before I departed, my master instructed me, "You understand how it is." Yun Meng felt an even deeper sense of kinship, believing I was surely like her. Both attendants serving under great figures, subject to scolding and discipline, as our masters share a preference for being like the divine dragon, appearing without a trace, and disappearing before the end is seen, avoiding entanglement in the worldly affairs of mortals. Who could deny that? Afterward, I inquired about the opportunity within the fragmented leaf. Yun Meng patted her small chest. "Given our relationship, I will show you directly how to refine the fragmented leaf into your own artifact. Water flows to the lowest point. And I realized this truth as well. This treasure that Master produced this time was indeed prepared for you." I was completely stunned. So it had been a success. When I arrived within the world of the fragmented leaf, I first discovered the remains of Wu Zhiqi, and upon touching them I successfully collected them, obtaining a massive quantity of water Daoyo essence. Next was to comprehend the true opportunity of this journey. After activating my heavenly eye, I discovered that this world of the fragmented leaf was constructed from countless arrays, and only by breaking these arrays could one comprehend the hidden opportunity. Amidst these myriad arrays lay a path like a labyrinth. Only by following the exact route could one find the origin of the fragmented leaf artifact. After learning the route from Yun Meng, I refined it, and quickly arrived at the first barrier. It took 2.5 days, and the first 9th grade after breaking through the first 5 9th grade spirit formations, I sensed an opportunity to ascend to the realm of a divine formation master. Using my heavenly eye, I located a god-grade formation and cautiously ventured inside. Meanwhile, Princess Peacock cast her gaze toward me as I occupied the final position. Observing that I refused to submit, she remarked that my comprehension was truly extraordinary. Her own attainments in the way of formations were neither lacking nor exceptional, remaining at the level of a 7th grade divine formation master. At this moment, Those ranked second in the crowd included the Demon Prince, the Fulong Immortal, and the Nine-Tailed Fox. However, the Golden-Winged Peng was quite mediocre in the field of formations. Falling into the final position, the 100-Eyed Demon Lord occupied the highest rank. Despite only being at the 9th grade, he grasped the divine formations with such speed that it seemed he was on the verge of advancing to a divine formation master. A growing sense of curiosity flickered within the beautiful eyes of Princess Peacock. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye, and I successfully advanced to a first-grade divine formation master. Should the opportunity arise, I must collect several powerful formation blueprints to set them upon Luozhu Mountain and bolster its defenses in the days to come. I then proceeded along the path to continue dismantling the divine formations. As the saying goes, in cultivation, time holds no meaning. I remained within the shattered world for 3 full years. Not only did I become a 4th-grade divine formation master, but my cultivation base also climbed to the late stage of the void refinement and Dabio integration. Upon checking my standing, I discovered that I had long since surpassed the Golden-Winged Peng. Ahead of me was the Demon Prince. I could only wonder how things were faring in the outside world. Logically, Qinyan and the others, being blessed by Providence as demon immortals, should be safe. But dwelling on it now was futile. 3 years followed by another 3, and at last I became a 7th-grade divine formation master, surpassing the Demon Prince and catching up to the Fulong Immortal. At this juncture, the Fulong Immortal approached my side. Little brat, everything ahead consists of 7th-grade divine formations. With your Earth Immortal strength, I fear you would be reduced to dust the moment you step inside. I take pity on you, for obtaining such an opportunity is no small feat. I am willing to let you follow me for a distance. But unexpectedly, the moment I refused her offer, the Fulong Immortal unleashed her magical power to suppress me. This boy refuses to drink the toast, only to be forced to drink the forfeit. At this very moment, the Demon Prince shattered the pressure weighing down on me with a single spear strike. Is it not a bit excessive for an old fox like you to bully a junior? The expression of the immortal elder Fulong darkened. Demon Prince, what exactly do you mean? Although Qilong is only an earth immortal, he was ultimately brought here by Taoist Xuanyang, and he has performed meritorious service during this calamity. Yet, you treat him with such hostility. I, the prince, simply find you displeasing to the eye. What are you going to do about it? The immortal elder Fulong's face remained grim. She had reached an impasse and desired to push further forward, but she would have to rely on my knowledge of formation arrays to do so. As the two were on the verge of combat, I finally spoke up, stating that since we were fated to meet here, we might as well study the formation together. It would surely be faster than fighting alone. The Demon Prince, acting purely out of a sense of justice, naturally agreed to such a proposal. The immortal elder Fulong laughed heartily, remarking, "This boy has a keen eye. In 2 days' time, he will surely achieve great things." Demon Prince, you need not view this old woman with such disdain, she continued. My actions just now were indeed a bit hasty. From this moment on, let us work in unison to storm the higher levels. The spiritual fortune we absorb will surely be more concentrated there, and the flow of time will also be slower. I was startled upon hearing this. The flow of time? The Demon Prince explained it simply. If you spend 3 years within this scattered leaf world, only 1 year will have passed in the outside world. I then had a sudden realization. No wonder the Golden-Winged Rock does not attempt to break the formation, but instead spends every hour and every minute devouring spiritual fortune to strengthen its body. The immortal elder Fulong showed a look of apprehension. Indeed, this rock is likely a Taiyi deity immortal, possessing vast supernatural powers and boundless magical strength. I suspect that even the 100-prison demon lord might not be its match. After becoming a heaven immortal, the realms proceed to profound immortal, true immortal, golden immortal, and only then to Taiyi loose immortal. Taiyi golden immortal? Ceasing my deliberations, I called upon the two of them to assist in breaking the formation. But no sooner had we located the entrance than a deafening rumble of thunder echoed across the heavens. The expression of the Fulong Immortal shifted dramatically. He lamented that this was the 5 Thunder Execution Array, the most malevolent of all 7th-grade formations. Rather than retreating, I felt an unexpected surge of exhilaration and anticipation. Qi Dao Yu, the 5 Thunder Barrage is no trivial matter. Even the two of us would not dare to withstand it recklessly. I did not reply, choosing instead to activate my heavenly eye to perceive the true essence of the formation. The Fulong Immortal's eyes widened. He had not expected me to possess such a formidable ability. One must understand that those capable of opening the heavenly eye are few enough to be counted on one's fingers. Among them, the most renowned is undoubtedly the grandson of the Jade Emperor of the present heavenly court, the Erlang Xiansheng Zhenjun, Yang Jian. Within the heavenly eye of Qi Dao Yu, there is a distinct aura of golden merit. Old fox, if you still intend to move against him, you must weigh the consequences carefully. The wrath of the heavenly Dapio, is not something easily endured. Those blessed with merit are highly sought after. Consuming them can significantly extend one's lifespan. However, I am not a person devoid of integrity. I shall not strike him in the back. While the two of them were embroiled in their dispute, I had already discerned the intricacies of the divine formation. I immediately coalesced my dharmic power, forging it into a spherical formation anchor. As I cast the orb, it slowly dissolved into the depths of the divine array. With a gentle tug of my finger, a thunderous roar erupted from above. The Fulong immortal stared in disbelief. You have actually seized control of this grand formation? I have gained command over a fraction of this divine formation's killing intent. Should we be attacked, we need only use this power to counter the assault. Thanks to the time you two bought me, there is no longer cause for concern. Yet, as we emerged from the divine formation, we discovered that this place served as a seal for an immense cache of immortal treasures. The demon prince stood tall and imposing, declaring, Qi Daoyu deserves the greatest credit. He should naturally be the one to select a treasure from this repository first. The Fulong immortal nodded in agreement. Among the items were 3 spirit treasures, 2 divine artifacts, and 3 immortal elixirs. Suddenly, the myriad spirit map within my consciousness began to pulse with activity. Mount Buzhao was formed from the spine of an ancient deity. It was the pillar of heaven in primordial times, and the heart of the earth. Witnessing this sight, my heart pounded against my ribs. Legend speaks of the ancestral witch Gonggong and Zhurong engaging in a cataclysmic battle beneath Mount Buzhao. Defeated and consumed by rage, Gonggong, the heaven-supporting pillar, has collapsed, and the foundations of the earth are shattered. What exactly is this decaying world? It even conceals a fragment of Mount Buzhao. I held that dull, ancient black stone shard in my hand, unable to recognize it as a supreme treasure. Thereafter, I selected a bronze mirror. The demon prince took 1 medicinal pill, and the immortal elder Fulong took 1 pearl. Once the treasures were distributed, the demon prince and the immortal elder Fulong began to circulate their energy to heal their injuries. I also took this opportunity to refine the precious mirror. It was a high-grade postnatal spiritual treasure known as the Heaven Illuminating Mirror. Subsequently, I took the Xuan Yuan pill I had been allotted and swallowed it directly. For the sake of a single Xuan Yuan pill, the Star Lord Zhenwu abandoned all decorum and stooped to making things difficult for me. This enmity shall be etched into my memory. A short while later, the two of them and I continued to explore the quicksand divine formation. During the activation of the formation 7 times, I nearly led them into a desperate predicament. After I dismantled the formation, I did not discover any immortal artifacts, but my mastery of formation arrays reached the 8th rank. When I asked if they wished to continue, the demon prince chose to stop there, while the immortal elder Fulong turned hostile immediately. Boy, you are far too arrogant. Breaking this quicksand formation already forced the two of us into mortal peril several times. Do you dare to continue? If that is the case, then we shall part ways here. Having said that, I turned and stepped into the next hidden divine formation. The demon prince attempted to dissuade me, but my figure had already vanished. The immortal elder Fulong wore a look of utter contempt. The next formation is at least an 8th rank divine array. Without anyone to assist him, he will be reduced to dust in an instant. How does he dare to attempt to break the formation alone? The demon prince immediately rebuked him. You old fox, do not forget that both of your high-grade spiritual treasures were obtained only through the help of fellow Taoist Shi, and yet you now hope for his demise. You are truly ungrateful. You are nothing but a wretched beast. Hongmo, do you truly think you have the measure of me? It matters not. Though I am called the immortal elder Fulong, your dragonkin is not what I fear most. Then let us put that to the test. At that very moment, the grand formation shifted. Earth, water, fire, and wind churned. The divine formation was undergoing a metamorphosis, within which the intent to kill would be unleashed upon its own initiative. The eyes of the immortal elder Fulong lit up instantly, but only a moment later, the grand formation returned to silence. The killing intent within the hazy formation was unable to lock onto its target. The demon prince laughed heartily. Ha ha ha! It seems we have both underestimated